Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Vesteban's Blood Box, where we're here to talk about things metal, all things around metal and such. Back for another episode. Finally, I am late to the game on this one. Today I'm going to do my end of the year list for 2020. The reason for being a little late is if you happen to watch one of the live streams I was on a couple weeks ago, I think it was. I was on for about 20 minutes and then my camera crapped out on my computer. My webcam finally called it quits, so I haven't had a camera for the last few weeks. So this is all going to be a little new today because I've got a new camera we're trying out, so hopefully it looks alright and sounds alright. Shout out to Rick Contreras from the Dreadful Minutes for the recommendation on the camera, one that I could afford that also seems to be pretty good, so appreciate that, my friend. Finally got a real camera instead of just a webcam, so... Anyways, doing end of the year list. I'm sure you've seen everybody else's by now. Time for me to do mine. I'm just going to kind of go through what I'm listening to. Before we get into it, we are listening in the background to Idle Hands. The band is now called Unto Others. They had to change their name due to some legal stuff with the name. But I got this Idle Hands CD from the same man, Rick Contreras. Thank you so much, my friend. He sent me a package full of some awesome stuff that I'll be going through in another video. But yeah, wanted to shout out to him. Really fucking love this. I kind of forgotten I even knew about this band. I had listened to him a few months ago and accidentally forgot about him, even though I really liked it. Just very much modern goth metal, not even really doom, just goth metal stuff, and I really love it. Lead singer's voice is straight up goth, like classic, almost post-punk in a way, with the way his tone is, but great stuff. So we're listening to in the background. I don't know if you can hear it or not, because this camera has like a condenser microphone on it. I'm not sure how sensitive it is, so I don't want to crank it so it'd be too loud, so we'll find out when the video's done. So anyways, yeah, we're just going to go through my end of the year list. So the way I decided to approach my end of the year list, because it's kind of my first one doing it as a video instead of just posting it online, is I usually approach it as which albums I essentially listened to the most throughout the year that came out that same year. So there might be other albums out there that, not necessarily better, but like these are just ones that really struck a chord with me. They're ones I listened to a lot. I really got something out of them personally, instead of maybe just going by how well they did in sales or something like that. I don't know, but that's my personal take on it. I think that's how most people do it, so it's nothing too unique. But we'll just go through what I have gotten into. I'm going to start with the first album I bought of the year. I got some Bindrune releases here that are absolutely fantastic. This one I knew was going to be on my end of the year list the second I finally listened to it all the way through. Obsidian Tongue, Volume 3. This is just an absolutely insanely amazing record. I fucking fell in love with this record the first time I listened to it all the way through. Black metal, kind of atmospheric black metal a little bit. You know, something I've said about this album that I stand by is it's not reinventing any wheels. It's not anything that's too crazy. It's just a really solid album front to back. It's very listenable. The songs are very well constructed. The musicianship is fantastic. It's just a really good, straightforward, semi-atmospheric, definitely black metal album. Immediately picked up quickly after this. Bindrune also has a split that Obsidian Tongue did with, I forget the other band, but got that one as well. Got a patch to put on my vest. Fell in love with this album a lot. It's just a really good fucking album. If you've not heard it yet, definitely pick it up. It got released at the same time as a couple other albums that I'm going to give an honorable mention to. And I think it got a little swallowed because of the other releases, or maybe just didn't quite get as much shine. Not by anything Bindrune did or anything like that. It's just the other releases were, very big releases. So this one I feel like maybe got overlooked a little bit, but it is absolutely one that deserves your attention. So, not listen to Obsidian Tongue, Volume 3, do so. Definitely in my top list of the end of the year, and probably up there as one of my favorite albums to listen to overall. So I'm actually giving that one the spotlight from that Bindrune release because I love it so much, but I absolutely got to give these other albums an honorable mention. really the whole set of these 3 albums, I'm just going to kind of count as a release as one, because they're all just absolutely amazing. You guys are well familiar with this by now, so I'm sure it's no surprise that the Panopticon splits, Panopticon with NECHOCHWEN was this one, and Panopticon with Aerial Ruin was this one here. Both amazing albums, heartbreaking albums. So much went into these. Of course, Eric is the guy behind Aerial Ruin, who NECHOCHWEN did, or Panopticon did this split with. He also did a split called Stygian Bow. I think it was Stygian Bow, with Bellwitch, which has done really well also. I haven't really listened to that one a lot, so I didn't really make it on the list because it just didn't quite capture me. But the acoustic work from Eric on this is astonishing and amazing and absolutely fantastic. Of course, Panopticon never fails. He's got Austin has a couple covers on this, a Chris Knight and Blaze Foley cover. But my favorite song from him on this album is The Pit. Boy, you want to talk about some personal angst coming out. I think that song speaks to a lot of people, including me. Absolutely fantastic. Of course, the NECHOCHWEN split as well. NECHOCHWEN and Panopticon have seemed like they're pretty good buddies. Both amazing bands. The Panopticon side of this is just one song, which is called Rune's Heart. I'm sure you're all aware of it by now. Another very heart-wrenching song. Very hardcore black metal, but a sad but also kind of beautiful story behind it, considering his son did make it through all the trials that he was dealing with. It does explain it in the sleeve on this. And then, of course, the NECHOCHWEN tracks are just awesome. Absolutely incredible. I was lucky enough to get to see the acoustic show that was held here in Minnesota at Hammerheart Brewing. Eric, Austin, and I forget his first name, but the guy the main guy from NECHOCHWEN, all did an acoustic show to promote these albums. So I actually picked both of these up at the show. Got them both signed, of course, by all the people. It was fun hanging out with those dudes that night. Only 50 people in the show watching, really intimate, and everybody played flawlessly. So, great way to start off 2020. Though the year went to shit, the start of it was pretty good in that sense. So, all 3 Bindrune releases, all 3 fantastic. So, if you haven't checked them out yet, I'm sure most of you have, but if you haven't, absolutely do so. Also, just note on this list, I've not really limited it to 10. I didn't even count how many I have here. I'm just going by which ones I really liked. So, this next one isn't a metal album. I don't give a fuck. I'm putting it in here because I fucking love it. It's a fucking pop song. I don't care. I loved this song. Not the album, this song. The Weeknd, Blinding Lights. I know. Radio play friendly on all the reward shows. You've heard it fucking everywhere by now. But I really love this song, man. So I picked up the 12-inch single. It's got Blinding Lights, the original version, Major Lazer remix version. Then on the other side it has an acapella version of it and an instrumental version. Both of those, they just took out all the instrumentation. It's just the recorded vocals. The other one, they took out the vocals, and it's just the played track. I have not listened to the full Weeknd album yet. I'm not much of a hip-hop person. I respect it very much. I think it is a really unique and artistic world within hip-hop and deserves a lot of respect. Just not my personal taste in listening to it. I'm going to give it a try at some point. But really love the Blinding Lights. Just fucking love that song. So I got the single. This is one of those I'm glad I picked it up when I did. I think it was $15, maybe $20 on the website, and this thing sells for like $150 now. So I had to throw it on. I really love the Blinding Lights song. So, something a little different from metal. You will notice though that most everything in this is going to be metal. My go-to. So moving right along. This one was just really important to me. It's really important to a lot of people, I think. Being here in Minnesota, in Minneapolis over the summer, and also, this is not a political video, but there's no way of skipping politics in some way or another when talking about this last year, especially within music because it did tie in with some projects. But, being up here, I went to the George Floyd protests, visited George Floyd Memorial Square a lot. just to be in that space. And so this was a really important album to me when it came out. Still is. Zeal and Ardor, Wake of a Nation. Just really powerful stuff. It's an EP. It's not very long. Most of the songs are pretty short. But really captured a lot of what I think so many people worldwide, and especially us here in Minneapolis, were feeling in the wake of what happened to George Floyd and all the heartbreak and anger that came along with that. Starts right off with Vigil, which is just a beautiful piano track, just sort of, I don't know, expressing that heartbreak of what we saw and witnessed and everything afterwards. Going straight into Tuskegee, which is just it's honestly, Tuskegee is probably the most black metal song Zeal and Ardor have done yet. It's straightforward black metal, blast beats. His vocals are fucking fantastic on it. And then throughout the rest of the album, they've got clips of the Hands Up, Don't Shoot from protesters. There's a song that has mostly clips taken from, I believe, videos of the different protests against police brutality. And of course, the imagery is very, very powerful on the cover here with the police sticks, whatever you call them, batons, sort of the inverted cross. I think lots of meaning behind that. It's not just a play on, the Zeal and Ardor sort of Satanism that he has. There's a lot in this imagery. I stupidly missed this when it was available for $18 here in the US, but I had to have it, so I ordered it from the UK, which ended up being about $35, but one I had to have. I really like Zeal and Ardor. I love the first album. I haven't listened to the second album a lot, but I want to get my hands on the first one too. A very appropriate. I'm not surprised that, I don't know the guy's name that's behind this, but I'm not surprised he came out with this, considering Zeal and Ardor was started in a, racism plays into how it was started and the themes behind it. Definitely check out Zeal and Ardor, Wake of a Nation. While we're on that, also, I don't have a physical copy of this because it's only a Bandcamp release, but an album that definitely goes on my end of the year list too, that falls in that same political vein. Another non-metal album, actually, is by a band called My Politic. The album is called Short-Sighted People in Power. Now, I don't have a copy of this to show you because it's not been released physically. It is strictly a Bandcamp release. Folk album, Americana folk, another beautiful album, really intelligently done. It's got a mix of satire, anger, sorrow, of course, just lots of different things. Very honest album, unabashedly critical album of the current climate that we're living in. Certainly a protest album, and it's been doing really well. So definitely check out that one if you haven't. It's one I am fortunate enough I actually know the two guys in the band, Nick Pankey and Caston Guffey, because they were in the first band I was ever in, or second band I guess, back in high school. And both those dudes, they moved to Boston. They've put out lots of releases that are really fantastic. Really good musicians, so definitely check out their past work too. But Short-Sighted People in Power are definitely currently their magnum opus. It's just an incredible album, very, very powerful album as well. So, of course, links to all these will be at the bottom, but check that one out if you've not heard of it. Again, Short-Sighted People in Power by My Politic. A+ album. Moving right along. So this next one is also just right up my vein of stuff I love. This was a split put out by Spectral Lore and Mare Cognitum. Been a Mare Cognitum fan for a while, starting to get more into Spectral Lore as well. It's called Wanderers, Astrology of the Nine. This is a beastly release here. This is a trifold 3 LP release, pretty epic. So really cool idea behind this. Both Mare Cognitum and Spectral Lore, a lot of their content deals with astrology, or more so just like the cosmos and the energy behind the cosmos, things like that. They had previously put out another album that they both worked on called Soul, S-O-L, which was basically a bunch of collection of songs that sort of deal with the sun, talking about the sun, mythology behind the sun, things like that. So I guess this is one they've been wanting to do for a while. This album literally tracks through all of the planets in our solar system. And to my understanding from reading the liner notes on this, what they wanted to do was sort of create their own mythologies behind it. So it's not so much based in like old Greek mythology or anything like that with astrology or astronomy. It's their own sort of take on their imaginative lore of taking you through the planets. And they each flip, so like Spectral lore did Mercury, Mercognitum did Mars, Spectral lore Earth, Mercognitum Venus, so on and so forth. And then they both collaborated on the final track, which I believe, Pluto. They both collaborated on that. Gorgeous release. This one sold out really fast. I do believe it is getting a second press if it hasn't already. But really good stuff. Black metal, definitely atmospheric black metal. Powerful. You really get that cosmic vibe from them. There's some really cool stuff coming out. A newer vein of atmospheric black metal that deals with the cosmos that I'm starting to get into. I'm really loving it. But these guys are absolute masters at it. Especially considering I'm pretty sure all of these are home recordings from both of them. But they definitely both know what they're doing with that. It doesn't sound gimmicky or cheap or rushed at all. They did a really good job with this. Great album artwork too. As you can see, it's got all the planets there. It's sort of a combined symbol for the album for both of them. But Mercognitum Spectral lore, absolutely fantastic. Alright, so moving right along here. So, this last year, so it's actually been, I kind of forget, I started doing these YouTube videos this year. And it's thanks to that group of guys, all of us, probably all of you that are watching definitely know these guys. Anybody who's newer that is watching this, these are people you got to check out. These are people that got me into doing videos on YouTube and doing album reviews and things like that. Bindrune, Marty Worm, I forget some of these guys' names, but their channels, the other guys' channels are Ground Zero Salem, and then a couple other. Get Into It with Jason Hook, another great one. But all these guys were doing these live streams when the pandemic hit and we were all at home hanging out. And it was really fun. These have continued to go on. We've all kind of started doing live streams as a way to still kind of keep in touch and have a sense of community still from being from our home. But anyways, I was watching the live streams with them. I actually followed Bindrune a little bit before I even found out about all this. And I've gotten lots of great recommendations from watching these guys, not just their videos, but also the live streams. And a band I really got into that I found from one of the live streams, and you've heard me talk about them before, Lycathia of Flame. Really fucking loved that. The one single album that came out and will ever come out from them, it was just absolutely fantastic. Really loved that style of death metal. Really unique. Nothing can really top it. Probably one of my personal picks for all-time best death metal albums. Sorry, it's hot in here again. We got the heat cranked up, so I'm sweating my ass off. I'm also looking weird ways because I'm not used to looking at the camera here. Anyways, so I kind of went on a journey to find other music that, somehow fit that itch I was having that I got from Lycathia of Flame. In my journey of looking up stuff, I came across this band, Sutra. I'm not sure where they're from. I don't know if it's the US or Canada. I think it's the US. These guys are absolutely fantastic. This is their second release, came out this year. I bought both albums. I have not seen much about this band before. Very professional band in the way they sound. They definitely touch on a lot of that sort of, I don't know how you'd say, I guess like kind of Egyptian style. I don't know, that's not really a very good descriptor, but sort of like Egyptian style of music like that Lycathia Flame had. Not by any means the same, but it definitely, you could, if you really liked that album like I did from Lycathia Flame, this would probably be something you would like as well. I've listened to other bands like Nile and stuff. I know people have recommended that, but it's good. It's just not doing the same thing for me. This one gets really close, and I really loved this album particularly. I've listened to it a lot. That's why it's making it on the end of the year list here. This one compared to their first one's more of a death metal album. This one's death metal too, but there's some really dark stuff going on in it. It doesn't really touch on black metal or anything like that, but there's definitely a similar kind of emotion behind it, and some really airy parts that kind of get... creepy's not really the word, but something along those lines. But great album. Sutra, definitely one to check out, again, if you haven't. The vinyl are really cool too. Just really gorgeous artwork on it. There's lots of different colors you can get. I got the one that matches the album cover for both, so it's got a nice splatter to match the album cover. Same with the other one. Of course, I'm not going to show you the colors of all these different vinyls, just this one's particularly beautiful. So it's worth showing there. So, yeah. This might be one that not many people have heard of from, I've got a lot of stuff on here that people are going to have on their end of the year list. This might be one you've not heard before, so definitely check it out. And I would say if you're more of a black metal fan than a death metal fan, this would be one to check out. I'm getting more into death metal. I've been progressively getting more into death metal, but I'm a black metal guy at heart. And this one is a good crossover. Though it's not black metal by any means, but it touches on something that I think black metal people would be into. So, this next one is another one I found while trying to go down that path and journey from Lycathia Flame. I do love that when a band turns you onto something and you start digging and going down a rabbit hole. I believe this is a French one-man band, and let's see, the album name, because I've listened to it a lot but I haven't looked at it a lot yet. So the band name is Trillium, I believe is how you say it. The album is Eternity of Shouldnt. You've probably seen this in a collection update video I did a while back, but this one's definitely making it on my end of the year list. Came out this year. This is a fucking cool-ass album. Cool and weird and all over the place. If you're looking for something different, but that still is a nice cohesion of musical talent and sounds and melodies, this is something worth checking out. Black metal is the easiest way to describe it, but it's got some more going on. I would say it has some of the same level of experimentation that Lycathia Flame had. Experimentation is maybe not quite the right word, but it definitely jumps outside the realms of traditional death, black metal, things like that. I've kind of gotten back on this band a little bit with some of their earlier stuff, and it's good, but this is definitely the album it seems like this person has really found what they're doing with their sound. So, Trillium, if you have not heard of this one yet, definitely check it out. Really, really cool album, really interesting album. A lot of fun and some just brutal riffs in it. Absolutely brutal. So, check that out. So, moving right along. This is one I know you've all seen on people's end of the year lists. I know everybody showed it when they got it. It's worthwhile. It's worthy of the praise. Absolutely fucking straightforward, great black metal. Afsky. This one, the name is... I shouldn't even try to pronounce it, but I'm going to try. Oftjeg Drummermigstad? I have no idea if I'm saying that right. But Afsky is one of those bands that I really think just shot right into, from being sort of underground to being on the radar this year with this album. Absolutely gorgeous stuff. Let me see, I should have looked this up before. I always do this. I don't look up information before I do these videos. So these are a collection of songs that are based or used lyrically poems, and I forget which country it is. It's an Eastern European country that I believe the guy behind this is from. But absolutely relentless black metal, atmospheric, somewhat traditional black metal as well. I was lucky enough I found this band actually last year. Sword was the album that came before this. Same thing with that. If you loved this album and haven't listened to Sword yet, do so. It's really fucking good too. But yeah, this album just absolutely put this band on the map, this guy on the map. I'm sure you've already heard people talk about it. It's just fantastic. It's the really beautiful artwork. Sorrowful. God damn it. Sorrowful. But yeah, just amazing stuff. I really can't say anything people haven't already said a lot about, but it's about it. But beautiful album, absolutely gorgeous. Worth checking out if you have not yet. So I've got some, I believe these guys are local, if I'm not mistaken, but this was my first exposure to them this year. Was very thankful I found out about them. This is another one you've probably seen on some other end of the year lists. But Moonlit Navigation by the band Inexorum. Same thing I'm kind of talking about. You can kind of tell there's a vein of stuff that I really like. And again, these are all albums that I've listened to a lot. That's how they make it on my end of the year list, or ones that I listen to over and over and over. Sometimes not even realizing I'm doing so. But Inexorum, this album is just beautiful, just fantastic. What would you call it? Maybe melodic death metal a little bit. Maybe a touch of black metal. Maybe melodic death metal. I mean, melodic black metal. Shit, it's been a long day. Somewhere between melodic death metal and melodic black metal. But yeah, these guys are just absolutely stellar. There is really, really tight musician work on this. The drums, the bass, the guitar, the vocals, everything is executed perfectly. It's all placed very well. It's immaculate songwriting. Every song is interesting. It holds your interest from front to back. Nothing bad about this album. This has been on repeat a lot. Same thing, beautiful album artwork as well. Still want to get my hands on these guys' first album. But Inexorum, another one, of course, if you've not heard it, check it out. My favorite phrase. But love these guys. I do believe they're local to Minneapolis, and if they are, I definitely look forward to getting to see them live someday when we can go out and see live music again. But good stuff. So, the next one here, another one you're probably seeing pop up a lot, considering it also just recently came out. Emma Ruth Rundle and Bauer collaboration. What a perfect combination of bands. I have loved Emma Ruth Rundle for quite some time now. She can do no wrong, in my opinion. Just everything she comes out with is fucking gorgeous and perfect. Thou is a band I got really into back when I was starting to get into metal and was going through a doomier phase, and I've kind of not listened to them much lately since I found other things. But this has kind of re-piqued my interest in them because this collaboration is gorgeous. It was fun too because on this, I pre-ordered it the second I saw it come out. I was like, Emma Ruth Rundle and Bauer, I don't even know what it sounds like, I have to get that. So I pre-ordered it immediately. And there was a Die Hard version available, and it wasn't that much more. I think for the standard LP, it was like $28. For the Die Hard, it was something like $32, $34. So I was like, okay, I don't know what, didn't say what the Die Hard version was, but I was just like, fuck it, I'll get it. So I did. The Die Hard version shipped much later. Everyone started getting their records. I was like, oh, what's going on? But other people that ordered the Die Hard version said they weren't getting theirs. So I was like, okay, it's just something, who knows what it's about. Come to find out, after releasing this album, Emma Ruth Rundle and Bauer released a second EP. That if you ordered the Die Hard version, you got both the standard LP and the EP with it. So the album that was released is May Our Chambers Be Full, and the EP that was released after that is The Helm of Sorrow. So both of these are in here. That was fucking cool. Really dig the photography work in this. These sort of genderless, faceless, very dark surrounding individuals. You get best of both worlds with this. You've got the really doomy stuff from Thou. The metal comes from Thou. Emma Ruth Rundle with her just haunting, gorgeous vocals and her songwriting too. There's definitely a really good mix between both bands. And it's fun. I guess Emma Ruth Rundle and Thou have been doing quite a few collaborations together with live shows. And this is their first time, in my understanding, doing an actual recording together. But it's fun that Emma Ruth Rundle, I guess, can now officially be deemed metal, right? Not that it matters. But she has been an artist who I feel like has really penetrated the metal scene, even though her music would not be classified as metal. But it's dark, it's emotional, it's just got all the elements of being metal without being metal, I guess. So it's kind of fun now that she can now be classified as metal. Again, I'm not saying it doesn't matter. She doesn't have to be classified as anything. She just does what she does. But it's just, I don't know, the metal world has accepted her fully, and so this is now kind of official too. Maybe she'll get in the Encyclopedia Metal. Anyways, just rambling on about that, but I fucking love Emma Ruth Rundle. She did a killer job with this, so did Now. Really cool collaboration. Hope to see more from them in the future, both separately and in a collaborative manner. Alright, so we're getting down to my last few here. And again, reiterate, there's lots of amazing albums that came out this year. There are a lot of amazing albums that came out this year. And I'm missing some on this list. There's also a lot of stuff I haven't checked out yet that I've seen on other people's lists that I had seen album covers and things floating around, so I'm looking forward to checking out more music. But you know, these are the things that definitely are sticking with me from this year. This next one I just found out recently, and I have absolutely fallen in love with this individual's art and music and everything about them. Have not heard this, and some of you may not have on this one because it's kind of not what I've seen passed around a lot. But Jonathan Holton. So this is Jonathan Holton's first full-length. He had an EP come out before this. Also got that in, but it came out I think last year or a couple of years ago, so that's why it's on the list here. So Jonathan Holton, did not know this until after I got into this project, was the guitar player for Tribulation. And I believe I'm not, because of the imagery, I'm not sure how Jonathan Holton identifies, so I'm just going to use they for them. But Jonathan Holton, I believe, left Tribulation this year in 2020. I don't know anything about it. It doesn't look like it was anything bad, but maybe just to go on and do their own project. But they released this incredible acoustic album. Not quite Americana, but that same kind of folk vibe. All acoustic. Really solid, interesting harmonies. And of course the imagery is just gorgeous. So firstly, check out the album. It's called Chants from Another Place. And when you do, look it up on YouTube and check out the music videos with it. Jonathan got some artists to kind of do all the music videos for their videos. Some artists to do all the illustrations for their videos. And they're really cool, really perfectly done, really amazing. Similar feel aesthetically, visually to Tribulation, some of that same kind of vibe, but a little more in the maybe pagan witchcraft vibe instead of so much the horror goth thing that Tribulation has going on. But absolutely amazing songs on here. I was blown away by this, and I have listened to the shit out of this album. It's actually my second to last album because I'm going to put this one up there as one of my favorites from the year, one of the top. Wasteland is a beautiful song. The Mountain is a beautiful song. Where Devils Weep, check that one out first. I would say that's kind of the single from the album, but just a hauntingly gorgeous song. A bunch of good stuff. Everything on here is great. Check out the first EP as well. These are kind of hard to come across. If you get on Discogs or anything like that, they're selling for like $80. When I got this just a few weeks ago, you'll have to wait a little bit, but if you want the vinyl, they are available on Jonathan Holton's website still. I think it is in Euro. You do have to pay the shipping from Europe, but it's still significantly less than buying the flipper costs of it right now. But to my understanding, all of the distros that have this are sold out, and the same with the EP. So grab it while you can. I'm sure there'll be represses at some point, but you never know. But yeah, cannot recommend this one enough. Again, just really cool vibe. Visually with it. Comes with a little booklet. I believe both this and the EP do. Just to give you an idea of... Yeah, it's definitely the same artist that does the music videos. Did the artwork in here too. Some of these almost taken directly from the music videos, it looks like. Oh yeah, great stuff. I think these are definitely taken directly from the music videos. So yeah, cannot recommend Jonathan Holton enough. So good, so fucking good. You can obviously tell I've really fallen in love with this album. All right, so we're down to my last one. This one, I am proud to present you with this one. Now, I am sure also, same thing I've been saying, most of you are probably familiar with this one so far. I was really, really excited when Bindrune from the channel Brainsmasher posted about this album because I had been listening to this non-stop for a full week. Hadn't heard anybody really talking about it, and then he pops up and praised it as well, so I was like, fuck yeah, someone else that's into this. And I think he and I do kind of have there's some similar tastes with things, but this was one that was a surprise, certainly to me and I think to other people. And that is Witch Hazel, Pentecost 3, number 3, third album from them. So I guess I've heard this described, this style of music, as revivalist music, sort of a throwback to that sort of 70s style rock. Something, Doom too, you've probably seen my Doom video by now. And understandably, people are not very fond of this genre because it's just flooded with a lot of the same stuff. And it's kind of, a lot of it's kind of boring, there's not a lot to it. This, however, is a perfect album front to back. This is a well-constructed album, well-written album, they play amazing on it. This is my number 1 album for the year. I'm just going to call it, this is my number 1 album for the year. And I have still been listening to it nonstop. It's been weeks now, over a month, and I just cannot get enough of it. So interesting thing about this band, which I did not really know until I got into this album. I was kind of looking at the imagery, started listening to the words, and I was like, this sounds very Christian. It's because it is. The lead singer is a Pentecostal Christian. All of his songs lyrically are sort of not praising God per se or anything like that, but they're definitely steeped in religion. And that's kind of their whole vibe. They're sort of like the Knights Templar is where this all comes from. That's very much what it sounds like. It's positive sounding music. Definitely a medieval-esque vibe thrown into the revivalist sound of what they're doing. But don't let that detract at all from this. Trust me, you are doing yourself a disfavor if you don't want to listen to this just because it's got some Christian-y lyrics to it, because they do it so fucking well. There's only one other band, or one other person who has had sort of overtly Christian lyrics that I feel like not only does it not detract from what they're doing, but it makes sense considering what they're putting into it. And that's Sufjan Stevens. I really love Sufjan Stevens. Most of his early stuff, not so much anymore, but most of his early stuff was very heavy on the Christian imagery and things like that. But it made sense. It wasn't trying to, not like conversion. It's certainly not like your typical Christian rock stuff. And I doubt there's anybody watching this channel that's a fan of that, so I'm just going to say it. Christian rock is one of the most god-awful fucking things that's ever come out. Most of it is just so cringy and unbearable and uncomfortable. Oh, it's terrible. Think of like Skillet. This is not Skillet, okay? Skillet's fucking bad. It's fucking bad. This is perfectly done. So, yeah, most of us aren't really Christians, aren't into that sort of thing. I'm certainly not, but it does not matter. It does not detract from this. It's so fucking good. And the thought I was having the other day is like, like Mayhem's De Mysteriis Dom Satanas, right? That album is supposed to be like the black metal equivalent of waging war on the Christians. And I would say that finally the Christians have come out with an album that would challenge that appropriately. This would be the album to put up against it, because it's totally polar opposite, more of a classic rock kind of sound, but as powerful as that album was. It's a strange comparison. There's nothing similar about them at all, but it is to the Christian world what Mayhem De Mysteriis Dom Satanas was to the Satanist world. So yeah, I cannot go on about it enough. This is so fucking good. Saw a video of these guys playing live too, and it looks like they're playing in some little bar somewhere or something. They're not mic'd. The vocalist is, but the drums aren't mic'd or anything like that. And they play their asses off. They sound fucking flawless live. I cannot wait to see these guys when they tour again, when it's possible to see them. They did get picked up for distro by Writing Easy Records. If you're not familiar with them, they do a lot of your classic, not so much revivalist, more Doom, more classic Doom stuff. But they did pick up this album for distro, because it was just available from Bad Omen Records, which I believe in England. So it's nice, you can actually get this without having to pay the very expensive cost of getting it shipped overseas. Also, really cool, you don't get a lot like this, of course, it's a gatefold. It's really, really heavy stock gatefold. They put a lot of care into this record. I think mine's just the black one. I usually just go black if I have an option. Oh god, that's kind of the bad thing about it being such a heavy gatefold though, is it's hard to get in that. I'm just going to pull it out so I don't break it. You're not going to be able to see it on here, but it is, I mean, it is stiff, heavy cardboard, which is nice. They definitely put a lot of care in this. This is a proud album of them, and they should be proud of it. So go support them, go check them out. Seems like they're really genuine people too, the guys in the band. Just incredibly talented musicians. And this album is absolutely my album of the year. So that's definitely my album of the year for sure. So there's my real quick 2020 rundown. Again, lots of amazing stuff out there. I keep discovering stuff that, and I did last year too. I missed stuff from 2019 that I'm discovering this year still. So wonderful, wonderful music still coming around. So yeah, there's that. I hope you all are staying safe, my friends. I should be able to start doing some more videos soon. Work is slowing down a little bit, which is good. Got the new camera, so we should be set up, and hopefully I will be around a little more often. Maybe hitting up some of the live streams with Nick and all those guys. So, love you all. Stay safe out there. I think we've got a hell of a ride ahead of us a little bit in the next few weeks, but be kind to each other. We can do this. We can continue on through, and here's to making 2021 hopefully somewhat better than 2020. Fuck 2020. Love you all. See you next time.